Alright, this is example 1 of lesson 2.6, dividing decimals by decimals. And we have our friend Tway here, who bought 3.2 pounds of fertilizer for $4.48. How much did he pay per pound? So, regular division problem. Nothing different there. We have 3.2 pounds and 4.48. So, we're finding price per pound. So we're going to divide price by the number of pounds. Price goes on the inside of the box for 48, and poundage goes on the outside, so 3.2. Now, if we had a whole number out here, we would simply ignore the decimals and go from there. However, we have one more step here. One more step. So last Thursday we added a step at the end. This time we're adding a step at the beginning and at the end. It does not change anything about the division itself. It just adds one more step. Okay? Just one more step. And it's a very small step for man. A giant leap for a kid kind. So extra points if you know what that's from. So let's see here. We need to get rid of this decimal out here. Now, I can tell you that we're going to get rid of these decimals by multiplying these numbers both by 10, but I can also tell you that we're going to get rid of these decimals just by moving them over. So, if we wrote these in fraction form, which we could do, fractions are a form of division. 4.48 over 3.2 is the same as this top divided by bottom, because that's how you get a decimal from a fraction. You divide the top by the bottom. A fraction bar means divide the top by the bottom. And we all know, and you will get sick of me saying when we're dealing with fractions, what you do to the top, you gotta do to the bottom. And we don't like this decimal down here in our divisor, the number doing the dividing. So we're going to multiply both top and bottom by 10. Now we have, and when you multiply something by 10, the decimal takes a little leap to the right. 44.8 and over 32. Now our divisor no longer has a decimal. Huzzah! No more decimal in our divisor. When dividing a decimal by a decimal, the divisor needs to be a whole number. We have to have this number out here be a whole number. So this is why we will do what we do, because we're multiplying it by 10. If this is confusing and doesn't make sense at all, then don't worry about it. Okay, just forget that ever happened. I'll show you the easy way. We've done that. I'm going to scooch this up a bit. We're multiplying it by 10. You notice that I moved the decimal places over. I don't have to go through this process here. Okay? This is showing you why. You probably don't have to do this ever again, at least not for decimals. And please don't shout at me for having decimals in my fractions. It's division, not a fraction. So I can have decimals because it's division. Don't worry about that right now. So, if you are completely lost, go back to before I started doing this, and then skip this to get to this part. I'm going to simply take this decimal point and move it over 1. Jump. Both times. Now, the decimal point's back here, and I don't have to worry about it. And it's over here, and I can ignore it. So my new division problem is, get out, pink marker, 44.8 for 32. So he spent $44 on 32 pounds of fertilizer. And now I know what to do because I have one decimal point and it's in my dividend, not my divisor. And now I can divide. 32 into 44 is once. Wrong color. Doesn't go into 4. Goes into 44 one time. 1 times 32 is, in fact, 32. And that is 12. Bring down the 8. How many times does 32 go into 108? I'm in a position to tell you. It's 4. 4 times 32, 64, 96, 128. Yep, there we go. I can count by 32 sometimes. 4 times 32 is 128. Now I subtract, have 0, and I can stop. And just like we were doing last week, the decimal just pops up to where it should be. Doot, doot, doot. Pop. Right there. How much did he spend on each pound of fertilizer? He spent $1.40 per pound of fertilizer. And if that 0 confuses you, it's because we're in money always goes out to the hundredths place. So if you don't have a hundredths place, just add a 0. 40 cents, not 4/10 of a dollar. Yeah. Okay. So one more time, just move those decimals as many places to the right as you need to make your divisor a whole number. And then divide just like we were doing last Thursday. Pop the decimal up at the end. After you move the decimal, you can ignore the decimal again. Move the decimal, forget about the decimal, remember the decimal. Division.